like to go back 50 years back when the Stockholm Conference, in one of its reports, in one section of the report, it is in my slide, when it talks about management of human settlements, it mentions about looking into urban and rural settlements. So one of the biggest challenge for us is, while we are looking into planning, the planning of urban and rural settlements should be done at par. We have to understand this much more now because of climate change. Last November, India submitted its low carbon development strategy at the COP. First time there was a task group on urbanization. It takes forward the provisions of Climate Smart City, which has been developed by MoHUA. Also, there is a line that mentions that there will be implications at regional level. When we look into the URDPFI guidelines, it talks about perspective plan, it talks about regional plan, it talks about urban plan, it talks about zonal plan, it also talks about local area plans. Do we have adequate legislations to translate these, or do we have adequate provisions? If not legislative guidelines we have, right? But do we have enough norms? Do we have enough methodologies or techniques to translate into ground? India as a country is low carbon because it is the rural areas that are offsetting the urban areas. If we look at the calculations separately for urban areas and rural areas, the picture would be different. Human settlements are dynamic. Planning has to incorporate the dynamism of human settlements. In the morning sessions, when the principal secretary said we have to do retrofit, because we have gone far ahead. The unplanned sector has been solving the problems, or rather, I would not use the word solving. These developments are taking place far ahead of what we do in a planned manner. So this is the other challenge. There is in the UNCCD, can you just go down to the slides, I think, much below. Can you please move down? I don't have please. There is just one statement I would like to, how do I go?
You want to go back?
No, front.
The next one?
Much below.
You can click the right button and stop when you yeah. Just one. Yeah.
Okay, there is one red color. Okay. Yeah. It says that doing the right, I'll ask you to stop. The right intervention at the right scale. Whether the problem is urban, whether the problem is rural, whether the problem is urban and rural, our solutions have to be according to that scale. So it is very important that we do regional planning along with urban planning. We do local planning along with urban planning. The other day, we were visiting the C&D Waste Handling Management Facility at Shastri Park in New Delhi. It deals with 1,000 tons per day, and the statistics for Delhi available to them are generation of 6,000 tons per day of C&D waste. Perhaps it is 6,000 that is collected, and maybe generation is much more. We were talking to them about the economics. They said it took 7 years, now it is running, and in another 2 years, they will break even. That means they'll start making profit. Now, we asked them about the economies of scale. They said, if you go down to 500 tons per day also, you will be able to achieve that. because the enormity of the waste that is being generated and the amount that is lying around and occupying land which otherwise could be given to beautiful streets, open spaces, cleaner water bodies, is something. If you look at the size, you go to the peri-urban areas, you go to the rural areas, there is a lot of waste that is lying around. So what is the challenge is we have to address the situation which we have arrived ourselves. 50 years, whether it is Stockholm Conference, whether it is Earth Summit, whether it is the New Urban Agenda, all have been hammering this, but where is it on the ground? What mechanisms for implementations? What mechanisms for mainstreaming is what we have to engage. Because without implementation, we will very soon become highest emitters. In pollution, we have already made a mark by one of the most polluted air environments that we have. We started talking about clean air action plans. We are also talking about climate action plans. And there are district level climate actions that have been. So what techniques have we to incorporate while we are doing our urban planning, regional planning, and for larger cities, perhaps zonal, area level, local plans are much required. We have to engage ourselves not only to operate at all these levels, but what techniques to employ, because my previous speaker from CSE has demonstrated the scientific techniques that are already there. GIS, I think there will be, is now something which is a tool which will facilitate to us. Our own methodologies have been collecting data which are still very relevant because it has to be socially acceptable, it has to be economically viable and translated it at the right scale and at the right time. Time is very important because if we are talking about a city and its climate action today, in 10 years, it will be much more. When we are talking of blue and green infrastructure in the city, its origins are in the region. You have to protect the watershed to make your greens work. You have to protect the habitats in the region to have the greens within your city. Thank you very much.